So it looks like we might. All right, everyone. So welcome to the Reach breakout session. And let me go in and get our overview up for this. Okay. Here. And okay. So welcome to the Reach breakout. Since we have a smaller group, I'm wondering if I can ask Holly as a parent to tell us a little bit about how you ended up choosing Reach for Zach.
Okay. Um, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. We've been aware of Chapel Haven for several years. When Zachary was wrapping up his high school time and he had the option of a 2-year post program, he didn't want to stay at his high school. So we looked at everything with an hour drive of us. And we actually went to Chapel Haven. Zachary didn't want to go because he thought New Haven was scary. And he
Okay.
decided to go elsewhere. But we've always had Chapel Haven in the back of our mind. And when our son was born, I worked in the field for years, and my husband and I agreed that we wanted Zachary to be independent from us before he was 30. We've attended a lot of conferences. Zachary has Williams syndrome, and we've seen a lot of adult children living with their aging parents, and it scared us. We did not want that for our son. We wanted him to have his best life, and living with us in the middle of nowhere was not going to be that. So fortunately, we were able to enroll Zachary at age 26 into the REACH program. He went for his 1-day visit, his 5-day visit, and we were on pins and needles. We picked him up on Friday. Like, we'll let you know Monday. And like 5 hours later, Christy emailed me, said, "I know you're dying to know. Yes, we want Zachary to come." So we were really pleased. And we really had no idea how much it would mean in Zachary's life and in our life. Zachary is now a community member, and he has the supports of Chapel Haven. It really hit us when we had his IEP a couple of weeks ago. There were 6 people in this Zoom meeting that had our son's back. I can sleep at night knowing that there's always somebody. I mean, he's in his own apartment. So yes, he's alone with a roommate, but there's a number he can call. If something needs to get taken care of, there's somebody that he can reach out to. We're an hour away. And that's a big relief on our part. He goes back to Chapel Haven for activities, and he's not currently working, but we are going to be doing the customized employment program. But he's doing volunteer work right now, and he has a schedule. So he has things to do, and he has friends. He's at the Big E today. He's doing all kinds of activities. He's learning how to budget. That's a process. He's currently not paying his own bills. We still pay his rent, which is about $1,100 a month with a roommate. And I can't say enough about our relief as parents, knowing that we're not the only ones navigating this system. Because yes, like benefits, like I'm navigating the Social Security side with, I took my Social Security early so I can get benefits for him. And it's difficult, and having someone there at Chapel Haven to help us navigate to get SNAP and rental assistance is key. And I mean, I'm not alone. I think that's what I really want to say is we're not alone. It is a lifetime program, and it didn't really hit me until Zachary graduated. Mary mentioned it at the last open house we did last month, that it's a lifelong program, and it really is. And he's always going to need support, but it's not just my husband and I or his siblings. And we asked Zachary about what he wanted to do for work, and he misunderstood me. And he said, "I think I want to be a community member for at least 20 years. And that I cry. I'm crying now thinking about it. We're very grateful.
Wow.
So I
So
hope I
nice.
can have any more questions. I'll answer whatever you want. I can go on for hours.
Well, no, I think thank you, Holly, because really there is a panic that sets in after high school for families about like what is going to happen next and can my young adult have their own life? Um, and Debbie, I know you're not feeling the best today, but you want to talk a little bit about your path to Chapel Haven?
Sure. So I just want to reiterate what Holly said from a student perspective. The Chapel Haven team is the best team in the world. Like, no joke at all. Like, I am extremely serious. I've had so many things happen to me at Chapel Haven with like at Chapel Haven or outside of my life. And I've had so much support and so much kindness and so much caring that like just as she's getting emotional, like I'm not like crying emotional, but I'm getting emotional of just like thinking of so many things that like that I went through, and I couldn't have done it without Chapel Haven's support. So I think I want to thank again Chapel Haven for all of their help. Um, as I mentioned earlier, I am from Westchester, New York, and I really thought for a while that Westchester, New York was where I was gonna be for practically, I think, my whole entire life. I didn't really realize or, wanted to, I guess, think of like leaving mom and dad or leaving a house that's kosher, for example, because I keep kosher on top of being Jewish. And for me, like knowing that my parents taught me how to be kosher and that the house was already kosher, I was concerned about, if I move away from my parents, how am I going to make a place kosher when my parents already have that stuff for me anyways? If that makes any sense. So I had a dream about going to the community college in Westchester. And at some point, I don't exactly know when, I don't remember to be honest, but some point I realized that there's so much more in life to Westchester, New York. And that doesn't mean that I will not love Westchester, New York for my rest of my life, but I knew like, there comes a time when you're like, wait a minute, is this what I really want to do? Or can I really spread my wings and fly somewhere else? And I looked around, and as it was said earlier, we do a day visit and then we also do a week visit. And then after the week visit, you kind of just like Chapel even decides whether they want you or not, and then you get to decide whether you want them or not. And
Right. Yep.
I I
Oops, there's a kitty.
Am I
I
kidding?
could not forget this. So many people were telling me during my week visit that I was going to get in even before I knew that even before I got the acceptance. And I think that really blew me away because I just think that like the people at Chapel Haven are the kindest people that I've ever met in my life. And so I just think that like they're so confident in you, even though you might not as well be confident in yourself yet. And so to
Good
see
point.
that was humongous, and just to get that support was like, wow, maybe I can actually do this. And when I was in Reach, I was a resident of New York, but I went to Reach, and so I did get to go back and forth and see my parents, just like Holly has said that Zach comes and visits
Yep.
whenever he wants to. And as I said, I'm a resident of Connecticut. I have three part-time jobs, one of them being at Chapel Haven and the other two being at the JCC. I am a part-time barista, and I'm also a part-time, I work in their membership department, and I help people scan in with the scanning card and just do tours and other things like that.
Mhm.
So I'm
And
very proud and thankful for Chapel Haven.
Thank you, Debbie. And Debbie is an admin assistant at Chapel Haven, so we get to have fun and play pranks on her and
Oh my
make
goodness.
make her crazy. So this is the REACH program that you're looking at right here. It's a 4-story residential and classroom campus, and it is staffed 24/7. This is a look at the organizational chart for REACH. So Inera Beauvais is our Senior VP of Transition Programs. She's also a registered nurse. So I'm sure that Holly and Debbie remember how Inera is like mother hen watching over the meds and taking temperatures, and all of our adults also have a primary doctor right in New Haven that they can see. And the staff for REACH, pretty much everybody here, a lot of the folks have been with Chapel Haven for 10 plus years. So a lot of longevity there, a lot of love and caring. So adults who come to REACH, what can they expect to learn? And these are some of our outcomes, and these are real outcomes. So as Holly mentioned and Debbie mentioned, you graduate from REACH with the ability to live with independence. And that's true for 80% plus of our adults. You gain a network of friends. And so for a lot of our adults, that's huge, there's that cliff after high school and the phone stops ringing and the social plans stop happening. And at Chapel Haven, it all picks right back up. You gain increased self-esteem because you've learned in the REACH program to manage your apartment and a budget and, arguments over the TV remote and how to solve problems and all kinds of things. We help our adults learn how to be safe in the community, which is needed no matter where you go, and then how to live with health and fitness and be employed. Let me just stop here and ask, we only have 2 potential families on the call. So would either of you guys like to unmute and ask a question? Because I want to make sure we make good use of our time. Jay or Gail, anything?
Gail, I think you're still muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So for me, sorry, I'm not very good at this. The biggest challenge is the first step. And I just I'm wondering, everybody talks about the beginning is tough. It's just like going to college, right? It's your first time away from home and all of those things. I can remember that.
Yes.
And as a parent, I feel very protective and worried, and he doesn't want to go, at least at this point. And but as Holly said, David, my husband and I are older parents, and we don't want our disability to be the cause for him to have to be independent. And so that getting over that first hump of saying this is what you need to do. When he lives, so my son is 26. He has a job. He's been working for 3 years. He has no friends around. I am, or my husband is his social life, essentially. And we do a lot of things, but it's not a life, and we won't always be here. So anyway, I go on, but it's that hump of getting over him not really wanting to do it, but knowing it's the right thing.
Well, I'm going to answer with the admissions hat on for a second, and then I'm going to see if Debbie or Holly want to say anything. But our process is pretty good in terms of baby steps.
Mm.
So sometimes that baby step can be as simple as having your son David join you on a virtual call like this one. He doesn't have to say anything. He doesn't even have to
Mm.
open his camera, but he can see, oh, interesting, and look at those cool apartments. And look at all the fun things they're doing on the weekends. Maybe I want a little bit of that. So
Mm.
that can be a first step. And I'm just scrolling down real quick to the apartment photo. And then maybe bringing him to an open house on the ground with us. And that's another, here's the apartments. That's another step. Again, doesn't have to say anything, but he's taking it all in.
Yeah.
And then from there, talking to us, and if we think it's a good fit, applying, and then he does that 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. sample day. So again, we're just baby stepping through the process. It's helpful for the adult because they don't know what the heck independent living looks like. They have no image in their head. And then for us, it's a chance too to see, does this feel like the right fit? Are we the right program? We want to make sure that we are.
Mhm.
And then they go on ahead and do that week visit. But Debbie or Holly, want to add anything?
Well, the friend aspect, I think once he gets a taste of visiting Chapel Haven and he sees the camaraderie and like it's like a college quad when you're
Mhm.
like Zachary, he lives a block away. He's always at campus hanging out. Like Christy said, he's in the rocking chair. He has friends there. He's, on the go. And all of this is because of Chapel Haven. And because we had no friends here too, we are his support.
Mhm.
Everybody moved away. He had a job, he'd come home, and that was it. Mom, can you
Mhm.
take me to the mall? Mom, can we go to the movies? You know, he doesn't have to ask that anymore. And I don't know, I really hope that your son would come for a visit because I think it would change his mind
Mm.
once he sees the idea of the friends that he
Mhm.
can make and the community he can have,
Mm.
be a big asset for his, I think, changing his mind and you
It
as
is.
well.
It is a big hump. I mean, it is scary. We know
It,
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
and sometimes we'll have families who'll just do weekend recreation to start, or maybe they might take an art class with Tina or
Mm.
whatever. So there's a lot of ways, there's a lot of ports of entry into what
Yeah.
we offer.
Well, we live in New York City,
Okay.
so it's a little harder.
But there's a lot
Although
of New York City kids in our program.
that's what I've
So,
heard. Yeah, from
so
Cook
that's,
Center,
oh,
where he
okay.
went to Cook. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a number of Cook grads with us. Actually,
Yeah.
Cook is a very good, we're a very good next step after Cook.
After Cook. Yeah.
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 Do you mind if
Um,
I chip in before we
yeah, go right ahead. Yep.
um Gail, it's nice to meet you,
You
first of all.
too.
And I also I mean, I don't remember like how, like scared or nervous I was about this,
Mm.
but I also have to say, like, what Catherine has said and what Holly has said, like, I think the second you get here, everything changes.
Mhm.
Everything. Whatever you think the worst thing in the world could happen, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'll
Yeah.
So
never I'll never forget. Judy Lefkowitz was the VP of admissions who I, shadowed and then replaced. I say replaced lightly because she was a legend. But
Mm.
anyway, she gets this call from a family and they had sent their daughter to Chapel Haven and it had been about, I don't know, 3 months or something. And the mom says, I'm really worried. I haven't heard from my daughter. I really don't think she's getting along with anybody. It's not working out. And meanwhile, Judy looks out and her daughter is pogoing on a pogo stick through the campus with all her friends. So it's really hard for
Yeah.
parents to
Yeah.
visualize that,
Yeah.
that it could be
Yes.
something else. But
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
see it all the time.
I also just
Yeah.
want to give one more, just want to say one more thing is that, like, I also think that, like, from a parent's perspective, like, you never want your kid to get hurt. You already
Mhm.
know that your kid is scared and worried. But I
Mhm.
also kind of think that, like, you have to let your child, figure out what's best for them in life. And yes, you
Yeah.
can be their support system, but I agree with the fact that it shouldn't be forever.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
you're not like Debbie and Holly said, they go home. The adults go home.
Yeah.
They take vacations, they go
Yeah.
on cruises, they do all.
Yeah.
We just had a baking challah. What was it called, Debbie? Baking with the
It's
mamas?
called challah.
Holla.
With the mamas. So we had Debbie's mom came to campus and we had some other
Yes.
moms and
Uh-huh.
they were all making bread together. It was
It
really
was an
cool. So
amazing experience.
That's great.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah.
great.
And especially doing it, well, it's one of the things that I do for Rosh Hashanah and for Yom Kippur is my mom and I make challahs together. So like
Uh-huh.
to see her helping other people and like so many people came up to me and was like, she's amazing. And I'm like, she's my mom.
Yeah.
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 You know what I mean? Like she's
Yeah.
amazing because she's my mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So a couple more just quick highlights. And Jay, I think you're in there somewhere. If you do have a question, let us know. The students in Reach have a very structured schedule. So they're waking up around 7 a.m. in their apartments. Staff are in and out of the apartments, making sure they're getting ready for the day, checking on meds. And then from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, they're going through a functional academic curriculum. So kind of like high school, only you might think of it as adult high school. And they're learning to manage $500 a month. They're doing their banking, their budgeting, they're doing laundry, they're learning about fitness, cooking, all of those very core subjects. They're working with our speech language pathologist, Dan, and you might have noticed in an earlier slide, he had a dog named Stanley. I think we are the first program to have a licensed speech language pathologist who is a dog. And
That's
he
good.
works, yeah, he's
It's a
wonderful.
great
It's just
campus, the dog-friendly campus.
That's
very
really
dog-friendly.
good.
Yeah, so he works a lot on that social communication level with the students. And then from 5 to 7 p.m. back in the apartments, they're doing their life skills and they're learning how to manage the apartment. So we have
Mhm.
evening staff and they're making dinner for each other with the help of the staff. And they're just doing a rotating series of chores. I love this photo because it's guys doing chores.
Don't forget, 3 to
Uh,
5 is free time, and that's when they're hanging out in the quad,
Yeah.
talking with all of their friends.
Right, exactly. Thank you. So, the program starts with the classroom, but then it extends right into the apartment and
Mhm.
by design, because really what we're helping our students do is learn what does it take to have your own pad away from mom and dad. Then the
Mhm.
weekends gets very social with our weekend recreation, and we have up to 25 different activities a month and all kinds of things going on all over the region. Like I think Holly mentioned that Zach is at the Big E this weekend and all kinds of stuff going on. And then we help our students get ready for employment through a series of rotating work internships. And they're learning about what it takes to be successful in a job setting and what they like to do. And then again, that information gets communicated over to Career Ability.
Can
We
I
do a lot.
interrupt you for a second on that
Yeah.
question?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Alex has been working at Whole Foods for 3.5 years.
Nice.
And I feel sort of a little weird of him not working for 2 years.
Mhm.
So he wouldn't be working?
So depending on the student, sometimes we
Mhm.
get adults who have already some work experience.
Mhm.
And so we can offer them the employment program earlier in the process.
Mhm.
And there is a Whole Foods not too far away in Milford, Connecticut. So really depends. We take it case by case, but if he can manage it, we might be able to work part-time into his schedule. We wouldn't want him to miss out on some of this core stuff because,
Uh-huh.
we
Yep.
want him to be able to graduate and live in the community if that is his choice.
And what about things like that you said it's in Milford, and I actually know the area very well because I grew up in Brantford. So if he got a job there, how do you deal with transportation? I know public transportation isn't the best
Mhm.
in the area, not like New
Debbie,
York. Yeah.
Let's ask Debbie, other than walking over to our campus, how do you get to your job?
So I'm gonna respectfully disagree with you, Gail, about how Connecticut public transit is awful.
I
It is
didn't say awful. I didn't say awful.
no, okay, so bad. I'm sorry, but it is well for me. So I work at the JCC, as I've been mentioning multiple times. The JCC is like what, a mile away from here. There's no way for me to walk to the JCC. I either have to take the public bus to work or get an Uber. But when I take the public bus, the JCC is one of the stops on the bus route. So I practically get door-to-door service. I just have to walk to the bus stop when I'm leaving my apartment, and then I have to walk from the drop-off point to my apartment when I come back. And
Yeah.
it's been very helpful, and yeah, it's been very helpful to me because I can't physically walk to the JCC,
Yeah.
nor would people kind of recommend that I even do that even if I wanted to, which I actually don't, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a general thing.
Gail, how does your son get to Whole Foods?
He takes the subway himself.
There you go. So,
Wow.
I mean, our students take the bus, they take My Ride, which is the state's transportation system, which is actually pretty good. And it's
Okay.
now on an app, so it's easier. And then we do have students who use Uber as well. So getting to and from the job. And we teach mobility and how to get around safely. Now, maybe your son, if he's riding the subway, he must be pretty good at it.
Yeah. 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 But yeah, I mean, that's partly Cook and partly growing up in New York, that,
Yeah.
living in New York. Yeah. Okay.
So just going to show you a couple more campus photos. This is the first floor lounge of Reach, and it has classrooms and social spaces. And then these are the apartments, and they are really nice. They didn't used to be so nice because we were using a different building, but now they're beautiful. There's a lot of socialization spots around the campus, and our students take great advantage of it. Okay, so let me see. Did we lose Jay? Jay, any questions? Oh, you're on mute. You're all
He's
set.
good.
Okay.
Can I ask one other question?
Absolutely. Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
So we did go to Vista,
Okay.
and because I knew about that. And I used to be a consultant, and people would say to me, "How do you compare to this other firm?" and la la la, and I used to hate that.
Mhm. Yep.
Are there any, obviously there's the setting difference, New Haven versus being on the shoreline like that in the little town.
Yeah.
Any other things that you would say are significant differences, or
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
And you don't have to either, but yeah.
No, it's fine. So Vista, we do recommend families to go take a look at Vista because it is a little bit different, and we do want our families to feel that they've looked at all the options and that they're informed. Vista, you start out in a dormitory setting, which
Right.
for us, that does not work for us because
Yeah.
we are getting you ready to learn to live in an apartment,
Yeah.
either when you go back home or you're going to stay with us. We want the setting you're learning in to really look like real life. So
Yeah.
that's a big change. So the kids at
Yeah.
young adults, I should say, at Vista are going to the dining hall, and
Right.
they're not getting quite as much of an immersion into life skills as what you're getting at Chapel Haven. We're also an approved school, so we have that structured functional academic curriculum. I think we're more structured than them, and I also think that we have longer serving staff. We've had a lot of help from the Yale Child Study Center and a lot of help with social thinking. So I don't know if anybody else
that's
wants to
good.
chime in, but yeah, but I
That's
think you
good.
should look at both.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
have your son visit both. I would recommend that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to say
Okay.
one more thing. One of my favorite things about the Reach building is that, as like it's been said, the first floor is where the classrooms are, and then the second through fourth are where the apartments are. I love the fact that I could wake up, roll out of bed, and go downstairs, and there's my classroom instead of being at my house, rolling out of bed, getting ready to go, da da da, and then
Yeah.
just like ending up at school, like to
Yeah.
me, the fact that your school and where you live are in the same place was extremely helpful and not confusing at all.
Mhm.
So that's
And a
another
lot of,
thing that I
a
would
lot
say
of,
about Reach.
and you have a lot of eyes on you. So,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
some of our students will wake up on a really snowy, cold day in their Hawaiian shorts, and we're like,
yeah,
is that going to work today? So a lot of
yeah,
help, a lot of
yeah.
prompting.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you so much. And that
Thank you.
concludes our program. I really want to thank Holly. Thank you so much for
Yes, Holly, thank
taking the
you.
time.
I can't say enough wonderful things about Chapel Haven. Like, our biggest fear was that he would still be at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And,
yep, yep.
And I don't know if Holly is willing, but sometimes our parent ambassadors, if a family wants to email them to get a little more info,
of
we
course,
can
feel
facilitate
free
that.
to share my email or phone number.
And then Debbie, I knew you were
Thanks.
going to do this. You told me you didn't feel well and you didn't want to talk much, and then you just talked and talked and talked.
You killed it.
It
Yeah.
was awesome. Yeah.
Yes, but I was coughing on and off, unfortunately.
Okay.
Well,
I
feel
hope you
better. I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Bye. Have a
Good
great
luck with
day,
everybody's
everyone.
choices. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.